Are you telling yourself stories that aren't true and believe in them? Well, that's no good. So go ahead and grab your journal because tonight, wait for it, we got 10 journal prompts that are going to help you break your limiting beliefs. My name's Alex Gellner, and this is Journal Party Live. All right, what's up, party people? It's your favorite journaling dork, Alex Gellner, and I'm here to guide you through another guided journal jam session. So, feeling pretty good today. You know, a little tired. I feel like it's always that way on Wednesdays, but I think that's why I love these things because it's like such a great way to get over the hump. And we've got a really amazing program for everyone this evening. I'm sure, you know, being in a group like this, you all are no strangers to the challenge that is limiting beliefs. And, you know, for the longest time, I think I maybe put too much stock in what my thoughts were saying to me. And it wasn't until I had, you know, a couple mentors that really helped me break out of that, where I really realized, like, hey, sometimes your mind isn't always telling you stuff that's supporting your whole journey. And I think, you know, it's important to be able to discern those things. And so tonight's program, it's called Limiting Beliefs, and it's about that, right? It's designed to help you identify any of these limiting beliefs that you may have, and then hopefully break out of them. So it's going to be pretty simple, pretty quick, as usual. 10 prompts, 3 minutes per prompt. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to trickle in. I think I forgot to send the email out today, so we might have a smaller party this evening. But if you're joining us and you have no idea what's going on or you're new, please let me know. And in the meantime, let me throw up the little ticker here. There we go. And that way people will know what's up when we get started. All right, let me see who's here. We've got Surrey Cat. What's up, Surrey? Katie's here. Mary Kay. We got Kathy Poo. Darlene's Place. Always ready to party. Ruth's in the house from Dallas. What's up? Oh, wow. We got a birthday in the house. Awesome. Well, happy belated birthday, Darlene. We very much love and appreciate your presence here. So I hope it was awesome, and I hope you got some fun stuff planned for the week. Katie's here. What's up? All right, we got people coming in. Good. I was a little worried it's going to be a little too light this evening. We're still a little low on the attendance count for tonight. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to make a limiting belief about it. Get that? Wait, ready? You probably couldn't hear that over the music. I got some sound effects, and I'm dangerous. Got June here. Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, give it a couple more minutes. What's up, Tina? What's good? And we usually like to get started at around 5 after. And all right, I don't know that I'm seeing anybody new here this evening, which is fine. We can save it, save us a little bit of time with me doing the whole spiel about it. Got another minute or so before 5 after. All right. That's right. It will be what it will be. It's always good to find peace with that. I should let everyone know that this evening I may have to have a hard stop at 1 hour into this, because A good friend of mine is releasing her album at the Hotel Cafe in Hollywood. And so it's been a while since I've been down there. But I'm going to head out and show her support. Should be fun. Kimberly rocks here. Awesome. All right, Elizabeth, second timer. Nice. Cool. All right. So about 5 after. It is 5 after. So let's get rocking and rolling. I don't see anybody new, so I think the newbies will pick it up. It's how hard is it? And there's prompts right in your journal. Awesome. All right, we had a couple. All right, DJ's in the house. Cool. All right. I think it's time to get rocking. So, as I was saying, tonight's program is all about overcoming our limiting beliefs. And so, you know the deal. I'll read the prompts, kind of fade off into the background, and at the end, hang out and talk about it. Sound good? Good. All right, let's get this party started. Here comes your first prompt of the evening. Think of a goal you've been struggling to achieve. What thoughts come up when you imagine reaching it? All right, everyone, get ready for your next one. Limiting belief. What belief do you have about yourself that might be stopping you from going after something new? All right, next one, past success. Write about a time you succeeded despite doubting yourself. What did you learn from that experience? All right, here we go with the next one. Reframe negativity. What is one negative thought that regularly holds you back? How can you reframe it in a positive way? All right, let's get ready for the next one. No fear. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? What thoughts keep you from trying that now? Yeah, man. Here comes the next prompt, man. Influence revisited. Who in your life encouraged beliefs that made you feel limited? How can you start changing that story today? right. Next one is hidden strengths. Write down a strength or skill you tend to overlook. How might this help you break through a limiting belief? If you were on our strengths and skills session, you should have this one fresh. Next one is facing fear. What fear is connected to your limiting belief? How can you face that fear step by step? Next one, model mindset. Think of a role model or someone you admire. What belief do they have about themselves that you can adopt? If you don't know what kind of beliefs they have, guess, think about it. We're modeling here. It doesn't have to be one to one. Next one. Oops, we lost our music here. Where were we? All right, let's pick another one. There we go. Future you. Imagine your future self living without that limiting belief. What is the first thing you notice that's difficult? I'm sorry, different, not difficult. All right, everyone. How'd everybody do? Hopefully good. I felt pretty good. Crazy thing. I'm gonna probably have to go through this one a second time, which is, why we have the app and the replays, right? But I think the limiting belief that I kind of started with, I ended up with a completely different one, because as I started to dig a little bit deeper, it was like, oh, you kind of get to the root of what's actually happening and what's going on with the surface. And man, this one struck me like lightning. And so I'm pretty eager to work on it. It's not, the crazy thing is it's not something that I'm not aware of. I guess not always consciously aware of. And that's what's cool about journaling. You can kind of mine for these things that are maybe hidden below the surface. But, this is not something that's new to me, but it's like, okay, now that I've picked it out and like I've spent some time with it and identified it as, maybe the pinnacle limiting belief for me. I don't know if that's the right use of the word pinnacle, but it sounded cool. Anyway, I'm eager to dive back in and kind of go through this process again. But yeah, some pretty good prompts in there. The reframing negativity one was one of my favorites, just because I think that's just such a powerful practice, is to challenge something that you've come up with and try to reframe it in the positive. I mean, I know there's all sorts of movements out there now, like against toxic positivity, but there is power in positivity for sure. And having the right mindset can change your whole world. And so for reframing negativity, I think that I sort of had this like fear of like being perceived as like a fraud, or like it's imposter syndrome is what it is. It's like, so, whether it's this project or whether it's, the marketing stuff that I do for other companies, sometimes like I'm not fully confident in showing up, or I like resist showing up and delivering all the goods, because I'm worried, what people might think, or that it might not actually be good enough. And I found a pretty interesting way to reframe that, and that's just to acknowledge that I have high standards and I hold myself to a high standard. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's a whole other issue with like perfectionism, and if that's holding you back and keeping you from moving forward, then that's one thing. And to some sense, there's some elements of that for sure. But I think that when I view it through the lens of like having high standards, then I'm coming at it from like a position of power, as opposed to like, oh, I hope they like me, I hope I'm good enough. It's like, no, I hold myself to a really high standard, and I can be proud of that. So knowing that I do that, and that's part of like my core, when I show up, then I think that I can feel a little bit more confident in that I can own that. And so that was a pretty powerful one for me. Let me see what else I highlighted here. Oh, and then I kind of got down to the meat of it. I mean, towards the end, right, with the what was the prompt? It was the model mindset one, and I was just thinking about different people I admire, and what their beliefs must be, and how I could maybe model that for myself. Get the tunes going on again. We did this song already. There we go. All right, sorry folks. What's going on here? Anyway, the after a little bit of journaling, the I think like the actual like erroneous belief in here for me is how I like assign my own value, and lots of reasons how that formed. I mean, thinking back, like who supported these limiting beliefs in the past, and like who contributed to that. And I mean, we've all got our own little story that we tell ourselves about why we are the way we are, or why we can't get what we want. But the way it kind of showed up for me is just that like your value as a human being is not your income, and it's not your accolades. And I think that I'm out. Wow, the music was so loud. Sorry, folks. So yeah, your value as a human being is not your income or your accolades. And I think that was, that's one that I frequently struggle with, even though, I've achieved a lot. I think it's like chasing that, you'll never be satisfied. You'll never be free. And it's tough because it was so heavily reinforced. And I don't think that was with ill intent. I think the people who were encouraging me growing up, wanted to see me get, the best grades. They wanted to see me, outperform and win awards. They wanted to see me get a good job and make a lot of money. And, when you're knocking those down, it feels great because like you believe that. You start buying into that. But when that fails, like what are you left with? And it's a really tough spot to be in. And so, thank goodness, everything is okay in terms of like where I've ended up. I'm really happy with how I've shown up and what I've achieved. But there's still that little voice or that little belief inside of me sometimes that thinks like that my worth is somehow tied to my bank account or my followers or whatever it is. And that's such BS. So I was relieved to get to that, but like I said, I'm gonna have to journal through that because that's like layers deep. So it's good though, like this is what journaling for me is about. I think obviously it can be about a lot of different things, but this whole idea that you can just start to dig and go beneath the surface. Like you don't need some guru out there telling you, some generic advice. I mean, yeah, like it's great to get coaches and it's great to read self-help books and stuff. But like, I think, no one knows you better than you. And ultimately, like to center yourself, to bring yourself to a single point of awareness in the now, and have an intention, in this case, like busting these erroneous beliefs for ourselves. It's so cool just to be, to see how creating that space for yourself can enable these things to percolate up and create additional opportunity for yourself. And so I'm really excited about that. To be honest, I've been feeling a little off lately, and a lot of it is tied to some of these beliefs. And when you actually look at it this way, and it's like, well, it's easy to see when you write that down on paper, like that's total BS. And so now that I've seen that, and I can like acknowledge that and feel it in my bones, in my guts, I'm like invigorated, and I'm really excited to tackle whatever the next task is with I guess a sense of freedom, a sense of lightness, and that's always been really important to me. So all right, we got to get through this somewhat quickly tonight, because as I mentioned, I've got a friend and she is releasing an album at the Hotel Cafe in Hollywood. If you're in Los Angeles, go check her out. Her name's Gemma, and really good friend of ours. And I'm eager to go see her. Now that they've got this lightness, I was kind of dreading going out. I was like, how can I go out when I've got all these responsibilities? And now I'm like, enjoy life. It's good. All right, so let me see. We got Misty says, I found that same thing, Alex. As I continued to journal, it got deeper into my fear of success and failure. And then we lost our music again. Sorry, folks. Ooh, we got a little soul. All right, I'm down. I'm going to loop that one so it doesn't keep cutting out. All right. Let's see. Deidre said, these were tough but good. I have 5 steps to overcome a fear of failure. It's a mental hurdle to overcome. That's interesting. I mean, if you're comfortable sharing, I would love to know what your 5 steps are, unless they're like super personal to you or whatever. But I was thinking about that when it was like coming up with the steps. Where my mind goes is I'm like, I need to make a program about this. What was the I didn't highlight it, so I'm gonna have to. Oh, there it is. I want to make a people pleasing program, because I think a lot of what this is like, I just want to be loved, want to be liked by people, and it's like as if I'm not. I mean, not to say like I'm so great or anything like that, but like I'm surrounded by amazing people who are so encouraging and supportive and loving, and it's like it's such a crazy thing to like just like constantly need that in like a weird manufactured sort of way. So but for me, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Where where my mind goes as far as steps is like, oh, I'll make a program about it, and then I'll force myself to journal through the thought processes. But always eager to hear about different modalities. So, Deidre, if you've got your 5 steps, I'd love to hear them. Darlene says, that was good, but I found that I was very sarcastic with my answers, but it was freeing to write. And that's totally fine. I think there's this that's kind of like in the vein of the toxic positivity thing that I was talking about. Not to say that you're doing that, Darlene, but your journal doesn't have to be sunshine and rainbows all the time. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, life just isn't that way. And sometimes when you're talking to yourself in your writing, a little tough love is good. I mean, for me, it was like really like you're gonna moan about this, and like, yeah, I can dish it out to myself, but I think it's important to be gentle with yourself. But like a little bit of wit, a little bit of sarcasm, like I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I think like sometimes like that wit is like the language of the soul, and it really like gets you to, to get something to land with you. So I wouldn't worry about that. I think that's cool. Sorry Cat says, value is such a subjective characteristic. What is meaningful to one is worthless to another. It's awesome when you finally stop measuring yourself against others. Yeah, that's a big one. I've been, seeing that come up in a lot of the... I got Siri going on over here. Sorry guys, I'm all over the place. But yeah, seeing that sort of theme coming up in a lot of the things that a lot of like the materials and that I've been digesting, different books and things like that. And it's just this idea that like I mean it's tough because like on one hand, like I think like competition is good in a sense that it propels us forward. Like you want to be the best, right? But there's also just when you're in that competitive mode and you're like you're trying to beat someone else, or you're comparing yourself to someone else, you're really doing yourself a disservice a lot of times. I mean, I guess if you're like running a race, like you want to beat that other person or whatever, but like it's maybe best to try to just improve, try to be your best self, and your best self, like that is like in my opinion, it's walled off from others, right? Like whatever your best is, like that is acceptable, I think. And it's tough because like I was saying, oftentimes like we overvalue our relative positioning with people because we're obsessed with being significant as human beings. And I don't know if that's just how we're wired or if it's a nature versus nurture sort of thing, but it's tough. Like these are things that like we accept them as truths, and even if they're erroneous, and sometimes like you really just gotta break out of that. And like when you view yourself as this sovereign being, this individual who I mean, independent of like what your overall belief system is like, well, there is tremendous value in just like who you are at your core, your soul, your heart. And I truly believe that everyone was put here with a gift. And I think it's important that we try to figure out what that gift is and do our best to share it with the world. And I think that gift is uniquely yours. And I think that's just like, that's where I want to be. Like, that's where I want to put my focus. Or at least that's where I think it's healthy. It's like, all right, like what is my best? Like, what can I do? Like what is in my palette that I can paint a beautiful picture to share with everyone with, as opposed to like, how can I beat that guy? Unfortunately, sometimes, the reality of the situation is like your mind will get seduced by that, the concept of winning over someone else. And, maybe it's not zero sum. I mean, the universe is just entirely too big for it to be zero sum, in my opinion. Got Kathy here saying, my fear of being criticized and judged led me to being a perfectionist and held me back from taking my craft seriously. Yeah, well, I mean, no time like the present, right? I mean, And I think the other thing is like it's also good to like surround yourself with supportive people, and create a safe environment for yourself to try things out. I think, fortunately out here in Los Angeles, I'm surrounded by dreamers, and everyone's kind of barking up their own tree, doing their own thing, and I think because we've all just collectively eaten it so many times, been rejected so many times, but like still fight the good fight. There's like some camaraderie in that, and it's like, fortunately, it's created this environment to where like it's fun to share these things with my friends. Like even if I'm just taking a stab at it, and hopefully that like overly competitive voice doesn't show up. But I that would be my thought with that. Is just if you surround yourself with people where you can at least dip your toe in the water, then you can start to prove to yourself that maybe there's something there, maybe there's potential there, and so maybe explore with that. And see, you have a second part here. Years of trauma and narcissistic relationships have embedded negative voices, thoughts in my head. Journaling, mental health therapy, and support groups, there you go, helping me reframe those negative thoughts. Yeah. So it's work. it's work, but I'm so happy to be sharing just time and space with you all. The kind of people who are willing to do work on themselves, because I think when you work on yourself, like the whole is just like instantly improved, and it's a weird, seemingly metaphysical thing sometimes, but it's powerful. Darlene says, be true to who you are and stop fighting it. We spend a lot of time trying not to be ourselves where we feel comfortable. Yeah. Comfort zones are interesting. You know what? I'm going to write that down. Comfort zones would be a really cool guided journaling program to explore. Like, let's see where our comfort zones are and how we can break out of them. It'd be cool. Kimberly says, I think we're in a culture that has applied data and metrics as a way of measuring the value of humans. Yeah, I feel that. Things can seem to be all about the clicks and the likes. Ugh, as a as a performance marketer by trade, I feel that hard. Like my whole thing is like part of like the value that I sell to other people, like in my marketing career and consulting career, is that I'm data driven, and I mean, it is good because that's how you improve things. You measure them. But I think when, what you hint at here is that that's no way to measure a human being. And, it's a little bit more subjective, I suppose. So good share. Sari Cat says, fear of failure is often linked to imposter syndrome as well. Hugs to all. Well, thanks for all the love. Appreciate it. Yeah, fear of failure. I fail a lot. It's okay. You learn. I think that's another thing. It's like, well, getting over fear of failure is just to view failure as a learning. And if you learned, hopefully it was worth it. Kathy, once I faced my fears, I would travel more without relying on my kids to assist me and create more art. Well, I'll encourage that. That'd be awesome. Maybe you can travel to the retreat that we're planning. It's a fun little share for you guys. I've been talking to different retreat planners over the past week and trying to put together a little journal party retreat. I think, we've been talking about that for ages. And I think now we're just trying to figure out if it's going to be cheaper to go domestic or international. It's interestingly enough, like it's sometimes cheaper to go abroad just because, well, I guess independent of the flights, the actual accommodations are a little bit cheaper. So anyway, a little teaser there. We got something in the works, and yeah, we'd love to meet everybody in person. That'd be so cool. Elizabeth says, I think I realized my making myself small for others is my version of people pleasing because of my childhood. Oh, that's interesting. That's another way to look at it, right? Like, and I totally get what you're saying. Like making yourself small. It's like that false modesty or false humility, maybe. And maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not understanding it correctly, but that's what my mind goes to with that. And like, yeah, you're not doing anybody any favors by selling yourself short. Not to say that you have to have a bunch of hubris about it, but I think that like true confidence, but with like an ounce of humility is probably the right mix. And she says, and I do that because of my fear of success. Yeah, there you go. Deidre says, positive self-talk, prayer, meditation, writing the vision I have for my life, self-improvement with personal validation, find a mentor. Pretty good. Might have to screenshot that one, save it. All right, folks. You know what? I mentioned I have to get out of here in a minute, so I'm really sorry, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get through all the comments here. Hopefully you guys are reading, and I see you chatting with each other in there too. So this was a fun session for me, you guys. And as always, I really appreciate everyone showing up week after week and working on yourselves. I think it's the coolest thing ever. And so to that end, I'm going to try to focus on that as like being the unique way that I'm contributing here, and the way that you guys show up and engage with that. It really makes me feel valuable, especially in times when I'm fatigued and don't feel super valuable. So really appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart, and hope this was useful. If you guys have ideas for future ones, let me know. We're gonna keep doing this week after week. Got some awesome stuff in the works for you, but I don't want to spoil it all. Anyways, I gotta get to this concert. So love you all, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, rest of your week, and as always,